Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, my beautiful girlies. It's Grace, and let's hop right in to this makeup get ready with me. So, for today's topic of discussion, this discussion actually, I guess, comes from moi. Didn't have to look this one up because this is a discussion or a topic that I wanted to talk about for a while now, and it's simply that natural hair is still a new phenomenon. Now, I know that the topic of discussion really does not make any sense because it's like, well, you know, how can natural hair even be a phenomenon, or, you know, a new phenomenon since, you know, we've had natural hair our entire lives. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But when I do go into, you know, the reasons and all of that, y'all will definitely see why. So without further ado, y'all, let's just get right into this topic. So like I said in the beginning of the video, y'all are probably thinking, like, you know, what even made Grace think of this topic of discussion in the first place? The biggest reason why is because of just the natural hair discourse that has been happening on social media for the past couple of months. I feel like we have a natural hair discourse not all the time, but probably once every couple of months of the year, like every single year. So, you know, there's always like different opinions being shared about how Black women, you know, should wear their natural hair, how they're wearing their natural hair, all of that fun stuff. So it's not like this topic of discussion is, you know, rare or unusual. It's actually very, very common. To me, what really made me want to speak on this topic of discussion, for sure, is just there was like this video, I think it was like originally a TikTok video, and then it, like, you know, spanned out to all the different social medias per usual. But there was this one young woman, who basically was saying, I believe that she was British. She was a Black young British woman, and she was just, you know, basically saying all in all that, you know, basically, and also, like, if I did get the messaging wrong of this young woman that I'm talking about, please correct me in the comment section below, because I don't like to twist people's words. But I think all in all, what her video was saying is that, you know, Black women should wear their natural hair more. Black women like to say that, you know, we love our natural hair, but we put our natural hair under, you know, wigs or under braids or under these protective styles, and we don't basically wear it out for the world to see. I think she also went in her video and said, I mean, it's been a minute since I watched her video. I probably should have watched it, but I couldn't find the specific one because there was like so many other videos made to add to, you know, her point as well, and some other stuff. And it definitely got the internet to talk, but I am happy that she shared her own, you know, perspective. And to also add as well, I think that she's adding a very unique perspective too, since she is a young Black British woman. So I don't know what the natural hair community or how natural hair is perceived in Britain. You know, we're talking about a whole other, you know, country. Now, I can't really imagine what it's like over there, but, you know, maybe the young Black women or girls have a different perspective on just natural hair in general versus, you know, Black women that live in the US. I don't know. I think that, you know, definitely the backlash that the young woman got, not backlash, but like conversation that the young woman started originally on TikTok, definitely transferred over to, you know, other social media platforms, and you know, got everyone's, you know, attention's up for sure, because, you know, like I said, we always have this conversation, but I think every single year now, with more Black women going natural and just more resources being shared, it's not as, you know, taboo. So that's why I'm happy that this conversation is being brought up, because it's not like weird anymore, like I guess it was in the very beginning where this all started, in all honesty. But yeah, that is what I would say honestly inspired this topic of discussion, that young Black British woman's video. And I just, you know, I'm not going to really spend this entire video only talking about her point of view, because, you know, that would not really be productive, since, you know, I'm not adding in my own thoughts. So I am actually going to be adding in my own thoughts about the discussion, and also just like my natural hair journey in general, because I've actually never talked about my natural hair journey at all. Y'all have only seen my natural hair journey, and you know, in pieces. And yeah, I'm just super duper excited to finally share after being a couple of years removed from my first natural hair journey. So to talk about my natural hair journey is to really start from the very beginning. So I want to say I started really going natural when I was around 13 and a half years old. Like, that's when I started transitioning to being natural. And 14 was really the year when I was like fully natural. Like, I was fully natural. Because before I went natural, I actually had my hair relaxed from, I believe, ages 5 to 13 years old. And, you know, from 13 and a half to like 14, I used those past couple of months to have my hair being fully natural. I mean, I was quite literally doing every and anything to my hair with the resources that I had. And mind you, at this time when I was 14, this was in 2016, the most iconic year ever of my teen years. It was literally a decade ago, which doesn't even make any sense. Like, I don't understand how it was that long ago. It just feels like it was yesterday. Completely different timeline, obviously. Even during that time, you know, natural hair, well, during that time from 2015 to 2019, because I can really only speak on that portion of, you know, the 2010s for natural hair. I can't really speak on 2010 to 2014. It was still kind of very unheard of for a lot of women to go natural, because there was like a new renaissance happening even after, you know, the first wave of like Black millennial women going natural in the early 2010s. But yeah. And when I was 14 years old, that's when I really did become natural, fully natural. Like, my hair was just super duper short. If I can insert photos, I will. It's not a promise that I will, but if I can try to find some photos, y'all will see it on the screen. You know, it was just definitely an interesting time. I mean, during that time, especially, I was just doing my hair every single day. And, you know, I was just learning new techniques. I was quite literally learning anything and everything that I needed to know in order to, you know, do my hair and to learn what being natural is. Especially during that time, the biggest YouTubers at the time that had my hair texture or had more kinkier hair was like, there was like this one woman called 4C something. She was a very big one. And then there was another popular natural hair guru called Natchapole85, I believe. So sorry if I am saying her name wrong, but she was very big at the time. and even like now she's still like a natural hair icon, especially for that era of time. She was just super duper you know, big. So, you know, we definitely appreciate her contribution that she made to the natural hair you know, world, because she definitely did her big one. And even just like during that time, because, you know, especially those earlier days of like my natural hair journey, like I want to say from 13 and a half to like, I want to say like even like 16 years old, I honestly can say that the natural hair journey, that the natural hair community unfortunately did worry more about length instead of health. I don't know, it would be promoted that, you know, that the natural hair girls worried more about health, but it really wasn't as common, because you would really just see videos of natural hair girls saying, oh, like, you know, how can you get your hair to be this length, and how can you get your hair to be that length, and all of that other fun stuff. That was really what you saw the most during that time. So it really wasn't this whole thing about, oh, you know, health over length. It was actually the opposite. It was length over health. And honestly, looking back at it like 10 years later it's just insane, because you don't really, you know, think, you know, that much of the past, because, you know, the past is the past, and you obviously don't think about it at all. But it's just very, very interesting that that's what it was, you know, the natural hair community at the time in the second half of the 2010s that I can speak of. I'm very curious of what it was like earlier, like in the first half of the 2010s, because I know, you know, and if y'all were natural in the first half of the 2010s, like 2010 to 2014 specifically, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts as well, in the comment section below, just to hear like what it was really like during that time, just to get more insight and more context. But yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, definitely a different time. You know, it was unfortunate, but that it was length more, but that's what it was at the time. And the biggest reason why I believe it was length over health is because of stereotypes, unfortunately, about Black women's hair. Because, you know, for most, you know, Black women, as young Black girls, you know, we had to get relaxed hair. And, you know, by having our hair relaxed, you know, we basically were trying to fit the beauty, you know, the white European beauty standard of having straight hair, because our more kinkier, more textured hair was, you know, not as beautiful as straight white hair. It wasn't as well, you know, quote unquote, not well put together than white hair, which that doesn't make any sense at all. And yeah, so I know that every Black girl, or even like most Black girls, would just like relate to that. And honestly, you know, just unfortunately, I feel like Black girls just didn't get as, you know, much support when it came to being natural. So I believe that's why it was also more like length over health, because we were just trying to prove to the world, you know, that, hey, like we can grow long hair. Hey, like this is our natural hair. And you kind of see more of that, not more of that. You kind of still see that now, but it wasn't as prevalent as it was back then, for sure. And I'm actually really, really happy that we made progress on, no, it really is the health of our hair that matters, not the length at all. Alrighty, y'all. So to get into the second half of my natural hair journey, because I talked about from 13 and a half to like 16 years old and what that was like. I want to get into the rest of my natural hair journey, and also just why I started my YouTube channel in the first place. So if y'all are a real OG, my channel was actually originally a natural hair channel. My most popular video on my channel, if y'all go to my channel and see, is actually 10 tips to basically transition from relaxed to natural hair. That is my most popular video on YouTube ever, for now. Manifesting more videos to eventually reach to that amount of views. But I made that video and it's my most popular video to this date, and even years later I'm so happy that I still kept that video on my channel, because in all honesty, like now it's kind of like I really hope that I did not give people really bad advice on how to start transitioning from relaxed to natural. But even now, because I rewatched it like a couple of weeks ago, I still had some really good sound advice. So I'm proud of my 18-year-old self for that video 6 years ago. But yeah, so my channel was originally a natural hair channel. I would talk about tips of how to grow your natural hair like everyone else did in the 2010s, obviously, but this was more towards the late 2010s. What products you should use for your natural hair, even though everyone's natural hair is different, and I had no idea what porosity and all that meant, even though I thought I did. Most teenagers think. And I even did some of those videos of like natural hair routines, washing my natural hair, all of that fun stuff. I did all of that. And I also did like hairstyles with like a natural hairstyles with like a shoelace where you could do like different designs and all that fun stuff. Yeah, it was definitely a time in my life. And that was from, I want to say like 17 to like 18 and a half. So that was like the later part of like my natural hair journey for sure. Yeah, so because I started my channel in 2019 when I was 17. Something else I didn't even mention, when I was finishing up middle school, when entering into high school, basically like 13 and a half to 16, in my high school years, one thing that I, saw in high school as well, you didn't really see a lot of Black girls wearing their natural hair unless it was a looser texture, unfortunately, or, that's really it. Like, you didn't really see a lot of Black girls wear their natural hair. Most of the time it was like in braids. Like, I never saw Black girls, like I did see Black girls in sew-ins, but most of the time, at least to the high school that I went to, it was like, braids majority of the time. And from that period, 17 to 18 and a half, I mean, my hair was still growing at that time, in high school and finishing up high school. It was the longest that it's ever been. I had my hair like up to like here, I believe. It was like longer than that. And, I thought I was quite literally balling, and then my natural hair disaster happened. It happened 6 years ago in 2020. towards the end of 2020 when I was 18 years old. So what happened was that, like, yes, I had the length, but I quite literally couldn't do anything with my hair. It was at that point where I had to go back to a hair salon for the first time in 10 years, since I was a little girl, when I used to have relaxed hair and when I used to go get my hair braided, that I had to go get help because my hair, like, even though it was long, it was quite literally forming into dreadlocks. Like, that's how dry it was. I mean, even during that time, just looking back, it's gonna sound so awful, but I quite literally was not brushing my hair, or I wasn't brushing my hair with a brush. I was combing my hair the most because of the advice that I saw on YouTube and like some from some natural hair girls. And I didn't even condition my hair for 2 years straight. I deserve to be roasted for sure, because I don't know how I could even let it go for that long. It was so bad to where I quite literally had to put a pause on my natural hair journey because I literally just did not know what to do. Like, I was stuck, because what happened was, like, of how we even started, I tried to blow out my hair because I wanted to blow out my hair and do a cute style and see how long it was, but like my roots were locked. Like, I was so scared, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what? It's not like the blow dryer's not going through. And it was like a blow dryer that was like attachable, and like the brush was attachable, and it scared the living daylights out of me. And from the end of 2020 into 2021, when I was 19 years old, like, quite literally, I did the keratin treatment. I took a break from my natural hair because I quite literally did not know what to do. I felt like a very big failure because it's like all of these years and my hair got to this where I literally couldn't do anything with my hair. Pretty ironic. My hair was really long, but it was the most, damaged. Couldn't do anything with it. It wasn't even that moisturized. So yeah, I definitely played myself on that one. So moving into the next sub point that I wanted to discuss, which is Black hair salon culture. I think I touched on this point, just like a little bit in the beginning, is that with Black salon culture, there's like a complex relationship when it comes to like hair salon culture and Black women, because in the 2000s, in the 90s and 2000s, of what I hear, like whether from my family members, like my mom, maybe my aunts or whatever, Black salon culture was very, very big, and it was very routine. But I think the reason why it was so routine versus now, 20 years later, is because everyone back then was relaxed. And there was one girl, or one like woman, Black woman who was a millennial, who made this discussion that unfortunately, in the Black community, at least for Black women, the only reason why hair salon culture was even easier was because majority of Black women had natural hair. I mean, not natural hair, had relaxed hair. So that's why it seemed like Black women can go in and out of the salon, because all of them had relaxed hair. And even like with braiding, especially when I was a child back in the 2000s, you didn't really see a lot of little girls braiding with their natural hair. It was with relaxed hair, as I stated as a point in the beginning of the video. So it's just really interesting, like, wow, even with braids, it was with the relaxed hair. That's just crazy. I don't really remember going to the salon in the 2010s when I was like a kid transitioning into like a teenager. So that was something that I didn't do. And I just even remember like back in high school, like I would just wear out my natural hair proud. I loved my hair. And I think that's like how I grew a love for my texture. And I guess I just didn't have to go to the salon back then. especially since I also just didn't like weave at all. I didn't like getting my hair braided when I was a child, and that, you know, definitely transitioned into that, like being a teenager. And I just think that, you know, even especially now as in my 20s, it's very, very different now, because, you know, now you have booking sites and you have these rules where it seems like they're like screaming at you, and, you know, girls that are, you know, not licensed professionals getting these salon suites, not to, you know, throw shade, but I know especially in the beginning of the pandemic, you know, the pandemic really did affect different industries, like the black hair industry. You know, everyone was doing their own hair at home because none of the hair salons were open and all that, and that transferred into the black hair salon industry that we have of today. And you know, and now it's just so hard to get qualified black stylists, and, you know, and I think it's like a problem that stemmed decades ago. I don't think it really started with my generation of young black women, of Gen Z young black women. I think that we were kind of the predecessors to like pick up all the pieces. And yeah, but we just had a very complex relationship with our hair. Because in all honesty, in my own personal opinion, I really don't think that a lot of, you know, hairstylists, maybe even licensed hairstylists, even know how to do natural hair, because it was just never really, I don't know. I just think that also because, like my previous point, like in the 2000s, you didn't know anyone that had natural hair. Everyone was very relaxed, because like natural hairstyles, even popular today, like dreadlocks and sister locks or dreads, for example, were really looked down on over 20 years ago. You know, unfortunately, it was said that like locks were unkept, or you looked, you lived in poverty if you had dreads or locks, you know, unfortunately. And, you know, it just really wasn't like a popular style that a lot of black men or women, especially black women, got. I don't know, it's just really, really unfortunate, because I've had my own struggles with just like trying to find black salons that could do natural hair and be consistent with doing natural hair, because it's like you can't really find that at all. It's like we have to like chair hop, because, you know, no one really knows how to do one style. Only certain people know how to do another, like one style or the other, and that's it. And it's very unfortunate that we have to go through that as black women, because I also have my fair share of horror stories, unfortunately, just like every other black woman. And it's just really sad, and I hope that it can get better in the future. And I think even with black hair salon culture, that's why I believe it's very hard for like most black women to go natural, because it's like, well, not only do you not know how to take care of it, you don't know how to brush it, you don't know how to detangle it. It's like you pull and yank. And obviously our hair is more coarser and more texturized, but does it really involve you pulling from the scalp? Like, even with the hair dryer and with the brush, I mean, y'all just go ham. I mean, you know, some stylists go ham, and I understand like the stylists are doing the best that they can, and I get that. But it's just like, why do you have to yank it so hard? Like, please relax. Like, I get it. Like, okay, maybe, but sometimes maybe you can use a brush, or maybe you can detangle it with your hands if some knots are not like going through. Like, that does exist, but I'm not here to do that. I digress. Yeah, I just think that unfortunately sometimes being natural is even hard, because even our own race of people still look down on our hair a little bit. And the natural hair positivity has been better this decade since the last decade. We've had more people going natural and all that fun stuff. But even when we go to our own people for, you know, like for natural hair services and going to salons, it still feels like our natural hair isn't being cared for in the most proper way with like other textures, you know? And it's just very unfortunate, and I really hope that it does get better, because it needs to get better, period. Now that I've talked about my complaints and, you know, done my critiques, all in all, what people are waiting for, the $1 million question: what is the solution? You know, in my own opinion, I really do believe that the solution is that you really have to let Black women find their own time to wanting to be natural. I think that being natural isn't something that you can force. And I know, like, that's kind of how some of the messaging feels, where, you know, some women try to force people to be natural, even if it is in the nicest and kindest way. No one wants to feel like, you know, they are not as much of a Black woman if they don't have their, you know, natural hair out, for sure. I mean, in my last point, I even discussed that maybe why we have this issue is because our hair gets mistreated so much that we have to go to wigs, or we have to, you know, go to these other, you know, avenues, get our hair in protective styles for months ahead of time. Or even the thing that I haven't really heard a lot too is because, you know, at least for me personally, I've kind of grown out of like natural hair being, you know, my only identity. Like, and that doesn't mean like my natural hair isn't my identity, because obviously it is. I love my kinks, I love my coily coils, they're just tea. But me now in my 20s versus me now in my teens, with, you know, with the relationship of my natural hair, it's not, I don't have like a very big tie to it. And I think it's because I've just grown up. You know, I've, you know, went to college and I graduated from my alma mater. Y'all see the cap back there that I wore in my graduation. It actually says to be young, gifted, and Black, because yes. You know, I have a life now, and back then I didn't really have much of a life. When I was a teenager, I just went to school and that's it. I didn't have a job. So it's like now everything that I said that I wasn't gonna do with my natural hair when I was a teenager, it's the complete opposite. Like, I love getting my hair done. I love getting weaves. I love someone else doing my hair, because as someone who did her hair by herself in her teen years, I'm all retired out. I now use my resources. I just don't really have the patience for it anymore. I have the love for it, but I just don't have the patience anymore. Now, to me, it's like, I care more about the health of my hair than the length. Like, I really do. Like, I don't know. And I didn't really think I would get to this point, but to me, it's just not that serious. To me, at least. Because I know length still kind of has us in a chokehold, but for me now, it's like, nah, I just want my hair to be taken care of, and that's it. But yeah, I just think that you have to allow Black women to find beauty in their own hair again. It's something that you can't force. It's something that you really can't, you know, politely say, oh yeah, like, you will look beautiful with this texture. Because like, I just feel like there are some things that you just have to let it happen naturally, and just allowing Black women to find their own beauty in their hair is one of them. Because maybe the reason why you don't really see us wearing our natural hair out is not because we hate it. It's really because maybe we just don't have the, you know, our hair does take more time. Not that it's harder to take care of, like, you know, or like we can't brush it. Like, obviously we could take care of our hair. It just takes more time, you know, than straighter, wavier textures. We have kinks. So, and you know, every time we detangle our hair, it just knots right back up. So we start from zero all over again, which is very beautiful that our hair does that shrinkage. That's natural. That's beautiful. It means our hair is healthy, but sometimes it can be a little bit too much. And it's like, sometimes I kind of just like want to wake up, have my hair be taken care of, and that's it. And I also think it's also because I want to try out new styles. I want to try out new colors. I believe since I've grown up now, and I'm continuing to grow up, it's like, I just want to try new things. You know, I don't want to try only my natural hair. Like, you know, I want to have diversity in my hairstyle. And that's one of the things that I love about Black hair. We have so much diversity, especially with the kinkier the texture, because I have like 4B 4C hair. And I want to say leaning towards more 4C, but you know, but yeah, I get to do braids, I get to do sew-ins, I get to do bantu knots, I get to do cornrows, I get to do so many different things and do so many different colors. And honestly, I've just never went back. But yeah, I think that's like my main solution, is just allowing Black girls to find you know, their own time into being natural, still supporting Black women. Because, you know, I definitely do agree, there are unfortunately Black women that do hate, you know, our hair. Unfortunately, I have seen that, but I think it does come from their own personal trauma that has unfortunately come with being, you know, a Black girl with coily, kinky hair, and no one telling us that our hair is beautiful or that our hair means, you know, a lot to them. And also with texturism as well, it's just so complex. So just letting Black women be natural in their own time, letting them learn their hair, make mistakes with their hair, learn their hair, you know, grow out their hair like I did, I believe is the biggest solution. And yeah. All right, you guys, so I just finished today's makeup look. What do we think? What do we think? What do we think with the puffs? I don't think y'all seen me wear this hairstyle on my channel before. I don't think y'all ever seen me wear like 2 big puffs. And I just think that this hairstyle is tea and it's so beautiful. I had such a fun time talking about this topic. I feel like, you know, this was definitely a topic needed, talking about so many nuances, being complex in so many different you know, thoughts. And I think at the end of the day, even with this complex, you know, thoughts, I just think it's very important to have love for one another, and just hope that all of us in due time will come together, be natural, show love for our hair. And I feel like we do have love for our hair. It just really depends on us. I think no matter where you are in your hair journey, whether relaxed, natural, or whatever, we all love how our hair is, and I genuinely believe that. Yeah, but please, pretty please, if y'all do not put comments on any other videos of mine, I would love it to be on this one. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on just what I discussed, you know, your personal natural hair journey, you know, all of that fun stuff. Your thoughts on this video, whether if you agreed with me or disagreed with me, please leave it in the comment section down below. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts. Please subscribe to this channel if y'all would like to hear any more interesting, silly, random topics of discussion, and even at times serious topics of discussion like this, and just more makeup. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you all enjoyed. I hope that y'all will have an amazing Monday, an amazing week, and I will see all of y'all's beautiful faces next time. Bye, guys.